We're learning about the first fruits, and the Jewish people are the first fruits of God. And what does that mean that we're the first fruits of God? Well, the first fruits is the last commandment that is explained in the Torah for all the Jewish people. It's this week's Torah portion. And the main emphasis on first fruits is that even though it's a very specific commandment and it's very, very limited in its application, and really doesn't even apply today because we don't have a temple, but it does apply to the Jewish soul and applies to the Torah. The Torah is eternal. And the whole point of first fruits is that it is a commandment of giving thanks. And it's a commandment which is not just giving thanks in speech or thought, but in deed. And not only that, it's permanent. You take the first fruits, you bring them to the holy temple, and you leave them there. And the Torah tells us that the Jewish people were called the first fruits of God because our purpose in the world is to take the whole entire world physically, actually, and make a holy temple from it. Said the Rebbe, the fact that we haven't done so is because of two reasons. Number one, usually the connection between God and the Jewish people and God by means of the Torah. Therefore, Torah is the most important of all. And there's a constant commandment on every Jew that if you want to be attached to reality, to the Creator, and to really improve the world, you have to learn Torah. And you have to learn the Torah in every moment that's available. Because this depends on our whole existence and our whole purpose of being in the world. Number two, when we're talking about a person that's found in such a situation that doesn't know anything about the Torah, and it doesn't even know there is such a thing. But nevertheless, the fact of the matter is that by him, this idea of is the fact that he is still the first fruits of God. And before the sake of every Jew, no matter who the Jew is, even if it's a Jew doesn't even know he's Jewish, the world was created for him, exactly the opposite. This brings a person, this will bring him, but the knowledge, the awareness that he is a Jew and that the Torah is the key to open up the treasure house of what a Jew is and the awareness of God. That's what the Torah is, pure godliness, and it was given only to the Jews. As soon as a Jew knows this, then that will bring him to do the Torah. So Jews that know about the Torah, they have to learn the Torah, right? So that, in other words, no matter how high you are, you have a big obligation. And number two, no matter how low you are, if you don't know anything about Torah, you don't know anything about that you're even Jewish. But nevertheless, you are Jewish. If the fact is you are Jewish. And then awareness, you tell a person, my friend, you were a Jew, that will arouse the person to start learning Torah. We can say in general that that's the whole idea of first fruits. Namely, the Jewish people are the first fruits. It's telling us that we have the power and we have the responsibility and we have the obligation and we have the promise that it's going to work, success, to fix up the whole world, according to the Torah. This revealing the highness of the Jewish people, first fruits, also in this physical world, until it's revealed that the essence of the Jewish people is even higher than the Torah. Like we just finished saying, even if there's a Jew that doesn't do any commandments whatsoever, but he's still a pure Jew, just like Moses. He didn't express it, and expressing it is what every Jew wants to do. And that's what the whole world wants that we should do, because the world is also yearning for the truth. It's just floundering around, grabbing all sorts of wild ideas and philosophies and solutions that up to now have only brought disaster to the world. Well, it says the fact that every Jew, in fact, is a Jew and he's in this physical world, as this is expressed by Mikra Bikorim, calling, when you go to the temple and you read, you announce, I am bringing first fruits to you, God. Thank you, God. You are the God that took us out of Egypt. and the amazing what I have to be thankful to every detail about how we went out of Egypt. That's the whole thing. A parsha. This is the whole paragraph that we say when you bring the Bikurim, Vanita v'amarta, that you should answer and you should say in front of God. Arami Overavi. Let's start off with the Arami Overavi. The Yerid Litzraima, that Lavan tried to destroy Abraham, and Lavan tried to and Yaakov was almost tried to destroy Yaakov. I'm sorry, Lavan tried to destroy Yaakov, and he destroyed the tomb. And we, after that, Yaakov went out miraculously, and we went down to Egypt, and we suffered in Egypt, and God took us out of Egypt. This is what we read also in the Haggadah of Passover. God gave us this land that these are all these ideas that we just said, that Yaakov went into Egypt and the Jews suffered there, and we went out of Egypt. We went out of Egypt and we went to the land of Israel. These are general topics which are relevant to every single Jew for all generations. The main point of what we're saying on when they went to the Holy Temple with the first fruits, and also what we say every Passover, and what we're reading in this week's Torah portion, is that despite the fact that Arami Overovi, that the whole world was against us, in this case Lavan, he tried to destroy Jacob, and Yaakov was found by Lavan, and he was his servant. And Lavan wanted to destroy everything. When he ran after Yaakov, he wanted to destroy everything. And after that, and even more, and others after Lavan tried to destroy us. In Egypt, they tried to destroy us. And afterwards, there's no lacking of enemies that Jewish people had. Amalek. And we went down to Egypt, and we lived there we're down to Egypt with only 70 people. All of this was before the giving of the Torah. Not only that was the world not able to destroy or even injure Jacob, but exactly the opposite. In Egypt, specifically there, we became miraculously a huge nation, whether in number or whether in quality, a different nation. And this is what we say in the first fruits, when we bring to the first fruits to the temple. And it began even before the time of Jacob. What? That Jacob married, and this began also in the time of Jacob. That Jacob also merited that his bed was complete. What does it mean? All of his children came out. Amazing thing, that the Jewish people, God told Yaakov to leave Israel. He fought with an angel. He defeated the angel. He changed his name to Yisrael. He got married, and he had children. And we're all outside of Israel, the worst place possible, right? Worst place possible. There was the angel of Jacob. He had the children before he fought with the angel, but he fought with the angel. The whole world was against him. Not only that, his children were brought up in a place where all of the children in the world were all idolaters. They were all running after their own pleasures. And amazingly, all of his children came out to be the tribes of Israel. They were brought up in a foreign land, not in the land of Israel at all, outside of Israel, specifically outside. And even it says that Yaakov was even worried about that. And he said to his sons, at his deathbed, he said, maybe you aren't devoted to God like I am. And his children said to him, Shema Yisrael, listen Yisrael. Their father was called Yisrael. God is our God. God is one. Just like there is only in your heart one God, also in our heart there's only one God. This is before the Jews went down to Egypt. And that time, well, no, I guess it wasn't, was it? No, I'm sorry. I take that back. This was after the Jews went down to Egypt. I'm sorry, right? Yaakov died in Egypt, right? In any case, in the beginning, this was right in the beginning of before the actual servitude began in Egypt, right? So it said, in that time, Yaakov said, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchut Olam Haba. Blessed is the name of the glory of God forever and ever. That's what we say in our prayers, because that's what Jacob said. Why did Jacob say it? Because he had a worry. How can it be that we're in this terrible place? I went through all this suffering, and my children still hold on to believe in God like me. God made big disappointments to us, put us in Egypt. Who would believe in God as such ridiculous? God didn't come across with anything, right? He promised the land of Israel. He promised everything, and absolutely nothing. You think that his sons would have left the same faith that Jacob had? His sons would be normal people and leave it. And his son said, "No way. Your God is our God." And Jacob said, "Blessed is the name of the glory of the King of God's kingship for and ever and ever." And we put that in our Shema Yisrael. We say the sentence in Shema Yisrael. It's not even a sentence in the Torah. Shegam biyotam Mitzrayim, even when they were in Egypt, and they said, "There is not in our heart only one God," complete oneness with God, in front of God. That's the idea of bikurim, that you bring it, the first fruits, in front of God. And even afterwards, even though that the Egyptians, they tortured us, and now we're also being tortured. But Mitzrayim means limitations and barriers to serving God. Hari Yotzienu Hashem in Mitzrayim. God took us out of Egypt with a strong hand and a outstretched arm, and with a Mora Gadol, and with great awe, and with big miracles. And God took us to this place, the land of Israel. Eretz Zod, Eretz Vat Chalav Davash, a land flowing in milk and honey. It should only be that the government of Israel should start, that the spokesman for the government of Israel should say this. So say this: God took us out of Egypt. He promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Moses the land of Israel. He took us out of Egypt, big miracles, smote all of our enemies. The land of Israel belongs to us. And if you want to be one of those enemies that God smites, just keep going, keep it up. Just keep it up. But you're going to get the same thing as Egypt got, the same thing as Haman got, the same thing as all of our enemies got. Shebachar b'bnei Yisrael, that God chose, we are the Jewish people, we're the chosen people. Chosen people. B'nei Yisrael bikurim the kol olam. And look, why doesn't the Israeli government say this? Why? Because it's insane. It's an insane thing to say. The whole world is against us, and we're going to not join them. Why shouldn't we join them? Why should we stand against it? So the answer is very simple: because you're not going to be able to join them. They're not going to let you. They're not going to let you join them. And the more that you deny who you really are, the more they're going to hate you. They're going to see that you're weak. And therefore, maybe, but the Jewish people come, mida keneged mida, measure against measure, right? If thieves come up to a person in the middle of the street and the person says, "Listen, I got a shotgun over here," they'll leave them alone. But if they say to them, "Listen, I want to be a nice guy. I don't want to make any trouble. I'll give you everything. In fact, I'll show you my house. You can come to my house. You can take anything you want to." Then they're going to say, "Oh, you're a nice guy. We're going to leave you alone." And they're not going to do it, right? That's what the Israeli government is saying. Here, the Rebbe is saying clearly, we have to declare who we are. We are, and we can't get away from it because that's who we are. We can't deny it. Well, you can deny it, but you're wrong, right? A person can think that he's a tree, but he's not a tree, right? You take him to a mental institution for people, not for trees. In fact, this is a person. The same thing is a Jew that denies his Judaism. Is the fact of the matter is that you can't do it. You're a Jew no matter what. You're living a lie. So let's live the truth, and the non-Jews recognize the truth. And as soon as we say it, then everyone will respect us. We are the first fruits of God. God put us here to bring the whole world in front of God, the Creator. Jinyan said that this is revealed how it is that the Jewish people, Bnei Israel, even before the giving of the Torah, before they received any real connection to the Torah below here, nevertheless, the Jewish people, they are bikurim, they are God's first fruits. Shekadma the called Dvar, that they preceded everything. The Jewish people are higher even than the Torah. A Jew that's a non-religious Jew, an anti-religious Jew, he doesn't even know that he's a Jew. He's a Jew. He has some precious gift to give to the world. Stability, meaning, blessing. Whether he knows it or not. Whether he wants to give it or not. The Jews are higher even than the Torah. And this is expressed, revealed, al yedei by means of this, as a Hisham, that the Jewish people went into Egypt, and they became there in Egypt, the worst place in the world, the most unfavorable conditions. They became a great nation, powerful and multiple, and multitudinous, and many. And afterwards, God took us out of Egypt with a very powerful hand and an outstretched arm and a great awe and with signs and with miracles. Until that God brought us to this place, to the land of Israel, a land which is flowing milk and honey. According to this, now we can understand the law of first fruits, that the first fruits have to have a vessel. You're not just supposed to bring your figs or your dates in your hand or in a bag. You're supposed to bring it in a vessel. It doesn't have to be a nice vessel. It can be a wicker basket. We'll see that there's advantages to the wicker basket. We'll see. Like it says, "V'samta b'tena." You have to put it in a what is it called? Like a tray, a basket. And this, the law is, you should bring it in a metal, a vessel made of metal. Like rich people, that they bring the first fruits in a vessel of silver or of gold. Why not? And the Kohen takes them and he gives them the vessel back. But if you bring it in a vessel of reeds, something else like that, like reeds or wicker basket or something, then, like the poor people do, then the fruits and the basket remain in the hands of the priests. The completion, wholesome revelation of the greatness of the Jewish people in bringing first fruits is in this, that what? How the Jewish people are in a vessel. My soul is in a body, a soul and a body, until even a kli ani, until even a poor person's vessel. An ani, a poor person in Judaism is only a poor person that's poor in his, awareness of God. As Nikar Sham, you can see Eichshem Bikurim. Nevertheless, you can see the Jewish people, even in the vessel. The main thing is to bring the figs and the dates and the pomegranates and the olives, to bring those to the temple. That's the main thing, is the fruits. The vessels are not important. The vessels are not important. It just happens to be a commandment that the fruits that you bring should be in a vessel. And you know what? You want to bring it in a cheap vessel, bring in a cheap vessel. But it has to be in a vessel, because that's what it says. It has to be in a vessel. And the main thing is the first fruits, but really the first fruits require a vessel. First fruits, they come in front of God by means of a vessel. You have to have a vessel. To even more that the vessels can be made for the simplest things, namely this physical world, that there's no thing more physical than it. You think the Jewish people, they're the first fruits of God. They have to be holy. What about the rest of the world? Who cares about them? No. The world is a vessel that the Jewish people are in. And this vessel also has to be brought to the temple. The vessel is important. The non-Jews, the physical world, all the animals, the plants, your house, your tree, everything is a vessel for the Jewish people. And it all has to be, and it's united with the first fruits, but often in the way that the first fruits and the vessel itself go to the Kohanim, if it's a simple vessel. Also, the vessel itself becomes in front of God. And even more, by means of this is brought about that the samta batena, you put it in the vessel, this basket is called a tena, a word, strange word. The word tena, according to, let's see, where is this? It's Megillah Mukos. There's a book which is called Megillah Mukos. I have the book. And also Oratora from the Rabba Magid. He brings it also. What is a tena? It says tena is the name of this vessel. It's called a tena. It says, but it says the letters ten, tuf, tet, nun, aleph are tagim nikudot otir. Let's see. There's Shatia Shlemot Torah. That's the whole idea of the Torah. That's the letters, the points of the Torah, and also the way the Torah is read. All there's the notes, how you sing the Torah. It says that's tagim, the little hair, like crowns on the top of the letters. Nekudot are how you read the letters, are the same letters. Oh, tamim, maybe it's tamim. I'm sorry, maybe it's tamim. Nekutamim, that's the sound, how you read the Torah. How you read the Torah. The cantillation, they call it, and the letters. In other words, that's the whole entire Torah, the letters, the pronunciation, and even the singing of how it's sung, the Torah, when it's read in Shabbat, it's sung. And the Samta et Bikurim, Yehudi, that a Jew should be munach in his inside, the essence, the tamim, the kudas, the othiot, of the Torah. So in other words, the inside of a Jew, what's the vessel for a Jew? The Tena, the letters of the Torah. So that's two ways of looking at what this basket is. The basket on one hand is representing the whole entire world, and we bring that to the temple. And also the Jew has to be, and also his basket, private basket, is the letters, the points of the Torah. That's the Torah. I hope you now, according to this, now we can understand a little bit in a deeper way the commandment of bringing first fruits with a connection to the covenant that God made with the Jewish people in the Torah and the mitzvahs. A covenant. In addition to what we said, that the first fruits show that the Jewish people and God are one, and etc. And also it says that God made a covenant. This week's Torah portion, also next week's Torah portion especially. First fruits, this is the essential quality of the Jewish people that's before the Torah. This is the beginning and the foundation of the whole Torah and the commandments, the holiness of the Jewish people. Since that the Jewish people and God are totally one. And they Osa Kodesh Baruch Hu. So God also made a covenant, a deep, infinite agreement with the Jewish people. Shamit Acheret et HaKodesh Baruch Hu, that unites God with the Jewish people forever, but not just in an internal way. It unites the two opposites, that God becomes as revealed as the Jewish people. And simultaneously, the Jews become as concealed as God. They become one in a way that godliness is revealed even in this physical world. And this is expressed mainly and actually by this, that the Jewish people, they honor this covenant between themselves and God. And the Jewish people receive on themselves, and they do the Torah and the commandments of God. Today, God commands you to do all of the commandments and all of the laws, and keep them and do them with all of your heart and all of your soul. In other words, do the commandments because they're God's commandments. It's not from the rabbis. Of course, it comes through the rabbis. And it's not just not just Judaism, and it's not just from the Torah, it's from God himself. In a way that this permeates a person completely, and it permeates also the commandments with your love of God, with all of your heart. So that the Jewish people will be fit to reveal this oneness of God into the world, like it says, Hashem Amircha, the God connected with you today, that you will be a special people. And he will put you above all of the non-Jews. You will become the teachers. Asher asa l'tehila v'l'shem l'tiferet, and you will be for a name and for for praise and for a name and for glory. That's the Jewish people. And that's this idea of the first fruits, as we will describe more tomorrow.